You may begin.
Senator Paul Wellstone has set up democracy that its ultimate goal is the fullest possible development of human capabilities, a concept clearly shown during the Renaissance and the Reformation due to the development of humanism. Francesco Petrarch founded the philosophy which emphasizes human potential individually and collectively. During the Middle Ages, people were seen only as part of a greater class. However, in the 11th century, Italy, a shift in government to more republican systems was able to give individuals more power, making them their own entities.
The concept of the individual changed in multiple aspects of life, from politics to art to religion to science. The nation-states of Italy, such as the Venetian and Florentine republics, allowed citizens a greater voice in government through voting, making them an essential part of a functioning government, whereas before many had only been laborers.
A similar shift was shown in art, where individuals began to be recognized instead of the monarch or religious figure who would commission the work. Their subjects changed greatly as well, as the church and monarchy were no longer idolized and aspects of everyday life were focused upon.
Individuals within the church were also disillusioned during the Reformation, with men such as Martin Luther and John Calvin creating their own sects because of dissatisfaction with the Catholic Church's policies. Because they taught that salvation would be achieved through God, not necessarily through the church, people learned to think outside of the church and approach life from a more scientific angle.
Men such as Galileo and Da Vinci were able to develop new theories on human existence within the world and the universe. A more global and universal approach in general is what made the Renaissance a successful time for the individual.
These changes subsequently meant that many established authorities and institutions were challenged. In politics, specifically in Italy, rulers were not given the unlimited power previously maintained through divine right, as seen in the Venetian Doge. Art, as alluded to, challenged what had been deemed art during the Middle Ages, with a return to the classical realism that made Greek and Roman works beautiful.
A beauty in reality and in the human figure was something that had gone overlooked in medieval times, and its new recognition brought forth great masters and masterpieces. The challenge art presented to the church, and in its straying from religious idolization, was also reflected within the church itself.
Luther directly fought against the Catholic system of indulgences with his 95 Theses, and formed one of the most successful and influential Christian sects both at its time of creation and today. The success of scientific inquiry in the Renaissance presented a threat to the church also, as the actual order of the universe was questioned by both Copernicus and Galileo.
Their theories of a heliocentric universe would mean that, contrary to the church and their teachings, the sun was the center of all existence. Perhaps the most important invention of the Renaissance was the printing press, which allowed for translated editions of the Bible to be mass-produced and accessible to all, improving individualism in religion, science, and literature.
Just as Renaissance individuals were able to dissect and reanalyze the world they lived in, the Founding Fathers were able to look to historical examples for governmental models. This idea of approaching past systems of government and thought through reasonable observation was what James Madison considered the new science of politics.
Men such as Alexander Hamilton took theories of political philosophers such as Machiavelli and translated them to apply to American government, as seen in Federalist 70's reference to an energetic executive. The check on the executive in Article 1, Section 8, Clause 16, through Congress's approval of appointments, mirrors the limited power of the Venetian Doge. The First Amendment's protection of religious freedom directly reflects the idea of the Reformation.
Combined, these parallels, along with others, were able to create the successful republic we have today. As we continue to re-examine our past, the science of politics evolves as we as a society continue to do so, and will ultimately cultivate a greater sense of the individual and their role in government. This concludes our statement. We are now ready for your comments.